This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions' Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
You heard the man. This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW The Moj, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions Media Relations and Social Content Team. Coming to you tonight from Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Sailors Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed. A little tough to find, but when you find it, it's got a real cool vibe to it. Big shout out to Dane, Rob, and the crew here at Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, and a big thank you to Lotta, our Irish waitress, who's doing a tremendous job for us tonight. Of course, this is all a presentation of Molson Coors. Matthew, Nick, bye week.
Yeah.
It was nice to get away from you guys for a week or so.
Well, I was going to say...
I got away from everybody for a week or so.
I'm surprised they had us back. By all accounts, it was a good show last week with Nikki and Julio and Faye, and Jason Tucker was entertaining the masses, apparently, and... we got to step our game up here.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. I mean...
it was good to get away, though.
I mean, what did you rather want to do last week? Did you want to come back and do the show on Tuesday? Or would you rather be in Peachland, the Okanagan, Summerlin, wherever you were? Or I was down in Cabo. Yeah. So
wine tasting with my better half. I would rather do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're the one and only Jason Tucker, though.
Okay, fine. Great. Hope you had a great show. Cabo was a blast.
We've interviewed him.
Listening to CFL games on a little speaker poolside was tremendous.
Listening, not watching?
No. Couldn't get TSN.
I guess you are a radio guy, so that
no, but you could not get TSN.
What about CFL Plus?
CFL Plus stream blocked.
See, now I've learned something, right?
Next year?
Next Cabo trip.
So you want small world routine, right? We always talk about small worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy beside us, well, two small world stories. A guy beside us, start chatting with him, and he says, "Where are you from?" I go, "From Vancouver, Canada." He goes, I played in Canada for a while. I played with the Calgary Stampeders." I go, "Really?" And I start talking to him, and his name was Herbert Cash. He was a DB with the Stampeders in like 06 or 07. I said, "I do the play-by-play for the Lions." He goes, "I trained a guy with the Lions." I go, "Who's that?" "Josh Woods."
Yeah.
No way.
He was Josh Woods'
Unreal.
trainer. And then he had played at Idaho, and guess who his running back was at Idaho? Rolly Lumbala, ex-BC Lion.
Fullback.
Back in the day, right? So just a super small world. Then a couple of days later, I'm talking to another dude. And this guy's a mechanic for Delta. And again, "Where are you from?" This. He goes, "I went to Canada for the first time last year." He says, I'm a Delta mechanic, and we work on we have the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights use our planes for charters. And because, this guy had been with the company, whatever, he flew on the Golden Knights charter. And he went to Canada. He said, "I loved it. The beer, the food, the people, this, that." I go, "Where'd you go?" "Winnipeg." I'm like, "Dude, you haven't been to Canada. You've been to Winnipeg, which is like the worst city in Canada."
Better than nothing, I suppose.
But it was really cool. It was just like one of those really small world things. How was your time in the Okanagan?
Excellent. Summerland, wife, daughter, parents, sister, good little family getaway, and always, beautiful British Columbia. You know this. Like, we take it for granted, but there's just something always magical about linking up to Highway 97 in Peachland, and you get that first look at the Okanagan Lake. I love that. So
just when you kind of come around that bend on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so a little pool time, a little lake time, and now we're raring to go. It was nice.
Yeah, and obviously coming off a bye week, Lions back at work the last couple of days. And before we get into Victoria, very quickly, injury list report came out today, Bakes, and pretty much this is a healthy team heading into the game in Winnipeg on Thursday, other than perhaps Chris Slugger being knocked out of the lineup with an injury, but for the most part, everyone's ready to go, and there's a big addition on the offense too.
Yeah, Keon Hatcher, like Rick Campbell's been saying for a couple of weeks, Winnipeg August 1st here was kind of the target, and by all accounts, no real setbacks, and he's looked good with the ones, and yeah, depth chart will come out on Wednesday morning, but you might see a little bit of shuffling in the secondary. You might see Adrian Green slide over Christophe Beaulieu. I know, Nick, you've talked about Christophe since camp. He's going to get a chance to start at safety. But, yeah, just when you thought this offense couldn't get another big boost, Hatch is back, and our guest tonight is Stanley Berryhill in a few minutes. I'm sure he'll love to talk about that. But, a week off did the injury situation some good.
Well, there were games, of course, where the Lions did enjoy the bye week. 4 of them, to be exact, as they're every week. Anyone stick out for you?
I mean, the East Division won 4-0. So
Yeah.
It was a pretty good bye week, yeah.
By Thursday night, the Lions were back in first place via Saskatchewan Rough Riders loss. The Ottawa Redblacks are 5-2 now. That's kind of where my mind goes. Khalil Pimpleton's this kind of breakout star return touchdown for them. So you mentioned Victoria there, where we have a home and home with Ottawa coming up in August, and Touchdown Pacific is the latter half of that home and home. And these Redblacks, we're going to find out if they're for real. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, I did the Hamilton Tiger Cat audio network roundtable this morning, and Bubba O'Neill, the host, he tried to bait us. Bubba, if you're listening, I'm smarter than that. He asked if the Ottawa Redblacks were an elite team, right? And all three of us said no, they haven't beaten anybody yet. Maybe, but I mean they have to still prove they're an elite team by beating an elite team, and they have yet to do that. And then he comes back and he says, well, their record's 15-29. The teams that they beat are 15-29. So. But the counterpoint to that is you play who's on your schedule and you beat them, and that's what they've done. And they've looked impressive. And I love it for Bob Dice's sake, because there were people last year that were calling for his head and saying that he should be gone. But, man, you talked to players even last year on that team, which I did, and they said, he's our guy. We're going to get through this. And they bought into what he's selling, and you're starting to see some of the benefits now. The game that kind of surprised me a little bit was Winnipeg and Toronto. Winnipeg, I mean, they played well in that game. Turnovers killed them. Right, and maybe some coaching decisions you can argue about. Shea perhaps not going for it and then kicking the field goal with a minute left. But man, turnovers just killed Winnipeg in that game.
Well, both teams some pretty bad coaching decisions. Remember, it was 13-6 Toronto, and Dinwiddie decided to go for it on a 3rd and 1. Get stuffed. My thinking there is you kick the field goal, go up 10. Winnipeg's offense has done nothing. You go up 10 with whatever it was 4 minutes to go. But, I'm with you.
I'm not against O'Shea's decision, and here's why.
O'Shea's, you mean?
Yes, O'Shea's.
Yeah.
And, Strebler was 15 for 15 in third down.
Normally, they're money there.
It's money.
Yeah.
And if you asked any player, and we can ask this with Stanley later, you ask any player on that offense, even defense, hey, should we go out on 3rd and 1? Of course they're going to say, let's go for it. That's aggressive football. Now, here's the point that I made earlier today, and this is the counterpoint. Your defense has been lights out the entire game. Kick the field goal, ask them to make one more stop. If it was 34-34, going for it on 3rd down is not a brainer. You don't want to give the other team some time because they've been putting up points the entire day.
Yeah.
But when they haven't put up any points and your defense has been lights out, man, at that point maybe you kick the field goal and say, hey, for 45 seconds our defense can hold. The only other thing, and O'Shea talked about this afterwards, was that if Janarian Grant busts a big return, maybe they have a chance.
Yeah.
What's the worst case scenario? What's a tie?
They're thinking of all scenarios in that situation. And Hamilton, Edmonton, some fireworks there. Looks like Trey Ford is finally going to get the start this week. They go to Saskatchewan, but don't sleep on the Ticats now. 2 wins in a row, 2-5. They got a tough one against Montreal this week, but they string a couple of wins together. They're all of a sudden in the mix there.
They were 0-5, as we famously like to say.
Yes, exactly.
And how about Davis Alexander? Comes in second half, leads the Alouettes to a 2016 victory over Saskatchewan. Davis Alexander, he sounds like he should be playing at Wimbledon, not quarterbacking a team.
He was 12.
Sounds like a tennis player.
He was 12-12 at one point too, wasn't he? After he came in,
and that's for me. I don't think there's any question. You go with him as your starting quarterback over Caleb Evans.
Well, Cody Fajardo's
they've activated Fajardo today off the 6.
I missed that.
But if that wasn't the case, I'd say yes, he's got to stick with him.
This may be a segment idea, though. We'll give you some random third-string CFL players, and Mojan names what occupation he thinks they have.
Okay. This like current?
Well, maybe just in the past. We have some on my trivia questions. Sometimes I name some guys, and you're like, I don't know.
I was going to say, is that tonight's trivia or what?
I mean, I could pull an audible here last second.
Yeah.
Wimbledon.
Okay. Before we get to break, big news this week. The crew was over in Victoria for a press conference.
Yes, Dwayne Vanneau, Carolyn Cody, Colby Fackler, Jordan Dowler-Coltman are whiz in the game day presentation, game day and events department. Basically coming together with the province of British Columbia, the city of Victoria. And the main points here, we knew there was going to be a festival at the harbor Thursday and Friday. Of course, Touchdown Pacific, thanks to our great sponsors at WestJet. Saturday, August 31st, Royal Athletic Park, Lions and Red Blacks. But the Thursday and Friday down at Ship Point, the harbor there. Great location, right around where the teams are going to be staying, right around the legislature. Great setting. Noon to 7, Thursday and Friday, we're going to have the outdoor festival. The Grey Cup will be on hand. There'll be music. There'll be entertainment. There'll be games for kids. Kind of think of it as an expanded version of our backyard tailgate party in Victoria, 7 hours each day. And then Saturday, we encourage fans to head to bclions.com/touchdownpacific. Backyard watch party the day of Touchdown Pacific. If you don't have tickets to the game, you can secure your spot at this viewing party around the corner at Central Park. If you do have tickets to the game, you can use it as a way to tailgate before the game itself at 4 o'clock. And Touchdown Pacific, Dwayne Vanneau has said it over and over again. Think of it as a mini Grey Cup festival. And as it gets closer here, it's getting more and more exciting. I don't know how you're probably getting more excited too. I don't know what your broadcast booth's going to be like.
I was just about to say I'm very excited about it until I basically walk to that broadcast booth and find out where we're at. If it's a thumbs up, I'll be happy. If it's good, I won't be happy.
I think Harp called dibs on midfield location there, but very quickly, you've been following this team, doing work around this team for a long time. You know, Vancouver Island has always had a strong base of fans. And it's going to be great to reward them and have a home game.
Remember, they are the British Columbia Lions, and you guys do a tremendous job of reaching out to all parts of the province throughout the off-season with some of the initiatives that you have. And it's great now to have a game in Victoria. And who knows, maybe down the road there can be something that can be done, say, in Kelowna or Kamloops. All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, Lions receiver Stanley Berryhill III will be our guest. We're coming to you from the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed. And a big thank you again to everybody here, including Dane and Rob. Of course, this is a presentation of Molson Coors. Next segment, Lions receiver Stanley Berryhill. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Yes, indeed. BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, coming to you tonight from the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed in Burnaby/Coquitlam. We're kind of on the border, I guess. I guess technically it's what? Burnaby? Yeah, it's Burnaby.
Burnaby. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Definitely Burnaby. A block over, it's Coquitlam, I guess. Big thank you to Dane, Rob, and the crew here at the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill. Really, like I said, a really cool vibe in this place. It's kind of like a place that you'd love to honker down in case there's like a big storm or something. Just kind of chill down here, and you don't have to worry about anything.
It's got arcade games. Yeah. It's got skee ball over here.
Shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard. Hey, I mean, Golden Tee. I mean, right there. That's worth coming to here for Golden
Air hockey, yeah.
And again, we're a presentation of Molson Coors. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions front office. And our next guest is the promising young receiver from the University of Arizona. Has made quite the impression this year. Stanley Berryhill III. Stanley, welcome.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Awesome.
So, bye week, you were telling us during the break that you had a kind of a busy bye week. You drove your vehicle up from, Tucson all the way to Vancouver?
Yeah, to Surrey, where I stay. It was 25 hours, give or take a little bit, but it was a nice drive. Kind of straight the whole time, straight up through a couple states, and got here in 25 hours, so it wasn't too bad.
So 12 hours each day?
I did 15 and 10.
Okay, that's all right. First day kind of pushed it.
Yeah.
And where'd you stay overnight? Boise?
Yes, right in little Boise, Idaho.
First time there?
Yep, first time.
You know, Bakes has been there a couple times in his previous life with the Vancouver Canadians baseball team, right?
I stayed in Moscow before.
Oh, okay.
When we played Washington State, we would always stay in Moscow rather than
across the line there in Idaho. Yeah.
You know, Bake's not allowed within the city limits of Boise.
Oh man.
But I think, like he said, the statute of limitations may have ran out.
It was 2005, 2006. That's almost 20 years ago. Wow.
20. Wow.
Great. That's awesome. A party town, though, I will say.
Stanley, let's talk a little bit about your journey and, how you got involved in football. I'm reading your bio.
Yeah.
9 siblings?
9 siblings. really, there's 11 of us total if you count my stepbrother. So, yeah, we have a big family.
I mean, seriously, like, if I had 10 siblings, I wouldn't be the size I am right now, right? I mean, did you kind of like have to like dinners at 6 and you show up at like 5:30, or what was the scoop?
Man, it's just sporadic. Whenever the food's ready, you run to the table and try to get as much as you can before it all runs out. It's never a dull time with my siblings. It's always a good time. 5
brothers, 4 sisters. Where are you in the hierarchy, so to speak?
So I'm the 4th. I was the youngest for 9 years, and
wow.
So I was used to being the youngest. So a lot of people call me Baby Stan because I was the youngest for a long time, and then I had a couple of younger siblings.
Was there a lot of competition amongst you?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I have 3 little brothers. One just graduated. And then I have 2 little brothers. One's a junior and one's a sophomore. Or one's going to be a senior and one's going to be a sophomore. So holidays, we're outside playing basketball in the street. We're competing all day.
When did you get involved in sports?
As young as I can remember, I was probably 3, dribbling around the basketball with my uncle at his practices. He coached a girls' team. And I just always had a ball in my hand. My dad and my mom used to tell me, like, I used to be in the back seat shooting gum wrappers into the little cup holders.
Oh, wow.
So as long as I can remember, but started playing football around 5.
Good for hand-eye, that shooting the wrappers thing. Arizona, of course, your home state too, right? How special was that to be able to play at such a great program close to home?
Oh, it was great. I always grew up watching Arizona teams play, so I've seen a lot of great players like Kadeem Carey. I used to grow up watching him play, running back for Toronto. So it's cool seeing him play and seeing other people from my hometown be able to be successful.
I always wonder that too with guys like Kadeem Carey. Like, did you know he was playing in Calgary before you came up to Canada, or was it like, oh wow, Kadeem's here?
No, we knew, because we knew he had a stint in the NFL a little bit, but he would always come back home and talk and have his camps. So we knew he played in the CFL. We knew he was with Calgary, and then when he went to Toronto, then that was big news too.
Yeah.
Now, you went to high school, Lutheran High School in Orange, right?
Yeah, I went to Orange Lutheran my senior year of high school.
And so you were in Arizona, but you decided to go just strictly for football?
Yeah, strictly to try to get recruited by bigger schools. I kind of didn't get any offers out of high school, and then I ended up walking on at U of A. But
I found something really interesting on their website. Mark Langston is on faculty. Was he there when you were there? Mr. Langston?
I'm not sure.
Former Major League Baseball pitcher, pitched for the Expos and for the Mariners.
Traded for Randy Johnson back in the day.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. They got him listed as a faculty member there, so small world.
No way. Wow, that's awesome.
So tell us about the journey to Arizona and how you got there.
Yeah, so I ended up walking on at U of A. I was committed to ASU to walk on, which is our rival, which I wasn't too fond of that, but that's the only thing I had at the moment. And then the U of A coaches got wind that I was going to ASU, and we met with them, and as soon as they offered me the walk-on spot, I flipped and was going to U of A. I walked on for a year. I was on scout team, did a redshirt year, and then going into my sophomore year, we had a coaching change, and I kind of earned a scholarship that spring. So,
do you know what's interesting? And I know we talked about this in Kamloops during training camp. A lot of times when players come up here, they look at wanting to be a starter, right? And that's all they think about is starting. And obviously that's your ultimate goal. But you had a different approach, and you were talking about special teams and going out there and making an impression on special teams, and then, of course, doing what you do as a receiver. But to me, it was kind of refreshing. And, like, reading your bio, that seems to be kind of like your modus operandi, because that's how you got your foot in the door in Arizona as well, was on specials.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's a big part, and I tell a lot of young players when I go back home that don't take special teams for granted. There's more than just returning kicks. You could go down there and be a gunner and make a career out of it. So, yeah, I enjoy playing special teams. It's fun. I get to do a little bit of hitting. I'm a receiver, so I normally run away from that, but every once in a while I try to get in there and make a tackle. It feels nice.
I got to tell you a funny story about Arizona. Of course, you know what it's like down in the States. Wherever you are, if you're wearing colors and people see you wearing university colors, I mean, they'll just the little slogan. I mean, if I wore my Texas hoodie down, you walk by somebody, hook 'em horns, right? And they give you a little sign.
Yeah, for sure.
And another guy, if you're wearing an Alabama shirt, you walk by someone, roll tide, right? I mean, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
So in Arizona, the big thing with people that go to U of A is bear down.
Yeah, of course, bear down.
Right? So one of my really good friends, his son-in-law, came up to Vancouver, and he and his wife are both U of A grads. They went to the University of Arizona. So he says he's walking downtown Vancouver one day, walks by this girl, she's wearing an Arizona hoodie, and he looks at her and he says, bear down. She looked at him like he had three heads, and she probably thought she wanted him to take her clothes off or something when he said bear down, right? But she had no clue, none, right? But I mean, it was kind of a funny story. But that's something about when you go to schools that have that type of pride and that type of atmosphere and that type of culture, it's a pretty special thing to be a part of.
Yeah, it's great. It's great being from my hometown as well. So growing up being a fan, growing up watching all the great players that come through there, being able to represent my hometown and play for U of A was a great honor.
So what clicked in 2021? Because I'm looking at your season by season here, and there's a massive jump, like double the production. And were there any breakout games in that season at Arizona that kind of propelled you to have that breakout year?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of was always on the verge, just not really getting. I was just kind of a spot player here and there, package player for my first couple years, and then my senior year, spring, it kind of just changed. Weight program was a little different. Just being older, you mature a little bit more, and I knew that was my year that I had a good chance. We just had another coaching change, so I knew the first impression is the best impression. So I went out there, had a great spring, and then it kind of just took off from there, and had a couple good first games, and then just tried to maintain that.
Were there any marquee games, like rivalry games, big stadiums on the road kind of thing that you're proud of? Or
yeah, that we played. We didn't win very much, but I'm proud of my team where we fought hard every game, so it wasn't too bad. But we played BYU at Allegiant Stadium, right after it opened.
Wow. And
a sold-out crowd. It's supposed to be 50-50 split, but I think BYU was probably 65-35. But it was a great atmosphere, and then always the Territorial Cup against the school up north, ASU. Mm-hmm. Those games are always exciting, always packed out, so those are kind of the games I remember.
Now, of course, those schools we're talking about, all Pac-12.
For sure.
What's it mean to you, or how do you feel about the Pac-12 disbanding, basically?
It was crazy seeing it all happen so fast. It was 2 nights to everything changed. So it was kind of a shock. I wasn't expecting to see that happen, but the Big 12 is a nice conference, and I feel like there's a lot of good competition. And U of A is highly favored up there to be a contender, so I'm excited to see them play this year.
You go undrafted. You have workouts. You were with the Falcons organization, with the Cardinals organization. You get to Detroit. You actually finally get to suit up in a game.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Special teams, really. Coach Phipp, he was our special teams coordinator at the Lions, and he's a U of A alum. So I got there. It was a crazy story how I got there. I got waived from the Cardinals, and the same night I hopped on a red-eye flight and tried out with Detroit that morning.
See, that's the difference between him and Peters. Peters said no to New England, never got the opportunity.
Said no to Belichick, yeah.
This guy gets on the plane that night to go.
Oh, yeah, I got on they called my agent. My agent called me. I said, hey, whatever I got to do, pack the suitcase. And I was going to stay, so I went, had to try out Wednesday morning, little to no sleep on the red-eye flight. And that same day, they're coming off the bye week, and it's full padded, full go practice with Dan Campbell, and I'm sitting there I just tried out. I didn't expect to be practicing like this, but I was playing scout team safety, picked off Jared Goff, and that next week I was in the lineup. So
I was going to ask, what was Dan Campbell like? Pretty much as advertised.
Oh yeah, he's intense, but he's a great coach, great guy. He loves his players, and he was a player, so he understands some of the things that we go through as football players and athletes.
Did you hear the story about Peters? Did he tell you that?
No, I never heard about it.
So he was in camp with Carolina.
Panthers, yeah.
Panthers. Yeah. And he got cut, and he went home, and his agent said, hey, New England's interested. They want you to go to New England and, go to their camp or whatever. And he was like, man, I just spent a couple days at home with the family. I've just been in camp for 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And a day later, he phones his agent. They don't want you now. They're moving on.
Moved on.
And you never got an opportunity.
And that's how it goes every week. It's just a rotating door.
Before we let you go, and we get into what's going to happen this week in Winnipeg and your season thus far, you leave Detroit, 6-game suspension for gambling, gambling on college football. How difficult was that? And I mean, does it eat away at you today, or do you just look back and say it was something that, I learned from and I'm moving on from it?
Yeah, for sure. It's something I learned from. When I found out, I was devastated. I didn't know. Like, I was sitting at home, back home, getting ready to start training. And when I found out, I was just like, oh, man, I didn't even know that was kind of a rule. But, no, I don't really dwell on the past too much. I try to be where my feet are. I'm blessed to be playing again, so I just try to be where my feet are and enjoy the moment.
How'd you wind up in BC?
So it's a funny story. So in 22, I actually had contact with BC before I signed with the Cardinals. So, like, I've always knew the CFL was a good backup option. And they called me once my suspension was up, and them in Edmonton actually both reached out, and I knew from the jump, like, to sign, I need to go to BC. I was supposed to go there in 22, didn't end up there, and they still want me. They've been consistent about it. So try to give it a try, and I've enjoyed every moment since.
Stanley Berryhill III is our guest on Lions on Tap tonight. More with Stanley in the next couple of segments. We'll get his thoughts on the Lions, his season to date, and, of course, the big game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, which features the return of Keon Hatcher. All that and more is coming up. Again, we're coming to you tonight from the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed. And a big thank you to everybody here, including Dane, Rob, and the crew, and, of course, our waitress, Lara. All right, more with Stanley Berryhill III on the other side. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, coming to you tonight from Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Salish Court, just off of Lougheed and Bell. Big thank you to Dane, Rob, and everyone else here at the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill. It's the Moj, as the man said, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions social media team, and Lions receiver Stanley Berryhill III, who has the University of Arizona Wildcats ranked 3rd right now in his NCAA 25 dynasty. Man, I saw Ragumba posted some stuff. He's coaching Miami of Ohio. A lot of guys have been waiting for this game, a video game, for a long time. It seems like a lot of guys are having fun.
No, it's great. I remember when I found out they weren't making it anymore. I was like, dang, that's like 3 years before I was gonna get in college. I was gonna be in the game. They ruined it for all of us. So yeah, it was highly anticipated. Everyone I know is on it, playing it.
It's huge on social media, seeing all the stuff that's going on. Let's get back to your story. You wind up in BC. You talk about it. You come to Kamloops. What were you thinking when you wound up in camp?
I just knew it was competition. That we had, I want to say, 20 receivers on the camp roster, and it was just every day, biting the nose, hoping you get some reps, hoping you get some passes in the team, because you knew it was going to be tough decisions by the coaches when trying to make the team. So the initial thought was just competition, put my head down and go to work. But it was a great time. Kamloops is beautiful. It was nice.
Nick Kowalski here, Liam, and everybody, you do a great job with the arrow up. I know you were featured in it, and it was Tuck, actually, Jason Tucker, who we sat down in the middle of rookie camp, and he basically said the message to you first years is it's on you to come in and take a spot from a veteran guy. How much did you take that to heart, hearing something like that?
Well, yeah, we knew that there wasn't too many spots available for rookie receivers, so we knew, like, he told us from the jump, he told us from the first meeting, like, there's only going to be a couple, most of you guys aren't going to make the team, so don't wait too long to be yourself. Like, come in camp ready to go. So I took that message and just tried to use it and put it in my preparation and be as ready as possible when camp started.
We have to bring up first career touchdown in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. How good was that? And walk us through how that play developed.
Yeah, it felt good to finally get the monkey off my back. I've been talking about it since we played Calgary in the preseason, so felt good. The play, I'm I'm really like the last option on that play, and I was running my route, and I kind of got to the end of my route, and I'm just standing there, and I kind of see VA look over, and I'm like, oh, he's about to throw this. So I know I'm going to have to come back because I seen the low defender trying to take that angle away as well. So once I saw that, the ball being thrown, and I knew I just had to try to go make a contested catch, and the dude kind of hit me and straightened me out because I was running back towards the ball. So when he hit me, and I just saw a clear lane, I'm like, I got to get there. So.
And that was big. And Julio Caravetta, color analyst, I remember Julio mentioning on the broadcast was that if you don't come back, that might be a pick six. Instead, you get the football. He's committed to making the catch, flies by, and you get into the end zone.
Yeah, as a receiver, I was always taught to be quarterback friendly, so that's what I try to do.
Well, it's one of those classic CFL throws where you're like 7 yards downfield, but VA has to throw it like 40 yards too.
Yeah, it's all happened in slow motion. Like his eyes got big, he threw the ball, and it's like moving in slow motion. And they say I was moving quick, but I didn't feel like it. It felt like it took forever to get there.
I think your true test to how wide the CFL field was, I think it dates back to that punt return against Edmonton where you take it across
the
whole field. And that was kind of like the moment it felt. Did that feel like, okay, I can do this in the CFL?
Yeah, that was the first time I was like, okay, I'm back to where I need to be playing football again, making plays. And I just try to make the most of my opportunities. If the ball is punt to me or the ball is thrown to me, just do what I can.
I love that. I was more like Willie Mays, and probably a little before your time if I'm referencing Willie Mays, but like the over-the-shoulder catch
they
on that punt return.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was an amazing play. I mean, and then you try to get the edge. You might, I don't know how much you got on that play, but that play in the preseason, I was like, wow, it showed a lot of athleticism, right? And that's where you kind of, that's what you're trying to show, right?
Yeah, my dad was telling me I looked like I was playing baseball again. I was like, it felt like it tracking that punt. It looked like a fly ball the whole time. So, what
was the biggest challenge of the Canadian game?
Getting used to that waggle motion, and everything's a lot more detailed, I feel like, with the depths of the routes and getting to your depths in the routes, and because it's all about timing, and you're moving so fast that a 5-yard route feels like a 2-yard route, and a 10-yard route feels like a 5-yard route. So just getting used to that kind of the game speed, I feel like it moves a little bit faster than what I'm used to, but I'm getting used to it, and it's been good so far.
Back to Winnipeg, 6 weeks ago, went in there and eked one out, but some big plays in that game. Everyone talked about Hollins going for 215, I think, but you made a couple of big second down catches to keep some big drives going. What's the key to sustaining that and doing that again this time around?
Just being ready when our names are called. Alex is obviously always ready. The ball's thrown to him. He's going to make a big play. And I think in our receiver room, that's what we all try to do.
One of my favorite plays from that game and interactions of this whole season is the second down play where you catch the ball, jump over the LED board, and go into this fan section.
Yeah.
And there's a Bombers fan who's looked elated to see you. I think you guys gave a high five.
Yeah.
Did she say anything to you, or anybody say anything to you?
No, it was just I think she was more scared at first than excited, because she probably thought I was going to run into her. And so when she kind of realized that I wasn't going to hit her, she kind of got super excited. I just wanted to see if she would give me a high five, and she ended up doing it.
But you know what I like about that play? That was a key second down conversion, right? What I liked about that was the previous play, you were misaligned. And Hollins came over, and Alex, he was pissed off. Let's be honest. He was kind of reaming you out a little bit, saying, you got to be over here. And I think you had to call a timeout, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were still able to focus and go through that adversity in the very next play, come up with a clutch reception, told me a lot about your character and your makeup and how you overcame adversity at that point.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that was something there. What's it like having Hatcher actually out there running with you guys the last couple of weeks? Because I'm sure you've heard him for the last couple of months, right, during practice, but to actually see him out there participating now, what's it mean to you?
No, it brings elevates the whole receiver room to a whole nother level. I feel like the last couple of weeks before he was able to practice and play, he's just on us all the time. Get your depth. He didn't get his depth. You better go make a play. He's on us every meeting, every practice. So it's finally nice to have him out there. And you could just tell the energy level of the offense and the intensity of the practices are a lot more intense with Hatchback. So it's nice.
Speaking of veterans, we've talked a bit about VA here, and you've been around some good quarterbacks throughout your playing days. Just your sense of him, not only as a player, but as kind of an undisputed leader of this offense. How impressive is that?
No, he's impressive. I mean, I've never played with a player like VA who's so smart, so agile, can move around, and he's a player's player. He helps you out if you need help. He's making sure you're good. He's checking on you. Buys breakfast for the receivers and for the linemen. So he's a good dude to have in the locker room, and he's a great leader.
He loves the Triple O's breakfast. That's for sure. That's a VA staple. And even today in practice, after it was done, after we broke it down, I think he took all the receivers aside and ran through some kind of situation, and he's almost like an extra coach in that way, too, right?
Definitely. Even dating back to preseason in Calgary, he didn't play, but he traveled, and he was basically our receivers coach.
He was Tucker that day.
That day he was our receivers coach, and he was telling us what he sees. He's helping us out on the sideline. Just it doesn't matter who you are. He wants everyone to get better, so it's nice.
Stanley Berryhill III is our guest for a couple more minutes. This, of course, is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. Talking to Stanley about this team, about this offense. When you look at the big picture, and this is your first year in the CFL, so obviously you're kind of learning things as you move along. How big is that learning curve for you, and where do you think your ceiling is when it's all said and done?
The learning curve isn't too bad. I would say I'm a pretty fast learner. So picking up the playbook, it took a little bit, but as the weeks go on, I get more comfortable. I'm able to play faster. So I just feel like if I keep doing what I'm doing and learning the rules of the game and figuring things out as I go and leaning on my vets and leaning on my other teammates, see what they see, I feel like I could do a lot for the team and help out a lot.
And the big thing, I guess, from your perspective, and you hear this from athletes all the time, is just focus on the process and let everything else kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing you can control is your effort and the way you practice and play.
Exactly.
And that, if the ball comes your way, great. If it doesn't, it's going to someone else. But eventually, all that hard work and that discipline, what does pay off, though, right?
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, you've seen it because you saw it happen in Arizona, and obviously it can happen in here.
So yeah, I just take that walk-on mentality everywhere I go, regardless of my status. If not, it doesn't really matter to me. So I just try to be as present and in the moment as possible and work as hard as possible and do what I can do to help. Before we let you go, Winnipeg, of course, Thursday night. There's a victory there already in Winnipeg. You've been there before. What do you think you need to do as an offense and as a team to get out of there with 2 points? We just need to execute the game plan. Coach Tuck and Coach Jordan give us all the tools. We just got to put them in motion and put them in play. And I think if we do that and we know our defense is going to get stops, we'll come home with 2 points. Well, Stanley, we appreciate you stopping by tonight. Continued success in your rookie season with the BC Lions, and I know we'll be talking to you down the road. Appreciate it. Thank you. There you go. Stanley Berryhill III, Lions receiver, stopping by here at the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill. Of course, we're coming to you from this fine establishment located at 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed. And again, a big shout-out to everybody here, Dane, Rob, and the crew. All right, final segment coming up. It's Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia. We'll see if we can handle Nick tonight. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia.
It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions social media content team. Coming to you tonight from Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell and Lougheed. And again, this is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. A reminder that the Lions are in Winnipeg tomorrow night, but Matt Baker, the next home game the Lions have is August 18th against the very same Bombers.
Yes, coming up close. It's going to be a long time since we're back at Save on Foods Field, but hopefully with a couple more road wins under the team's belt. Fam Fest, yes, the family theme. Terry Fox Plaza, of course, is where the backyard party presented by Play Now Sports will be. Spray tattoos, face painting for kids. The Kids Club, the London Drugs Kids Club, will be out there activating as always. And post-game, little ones get to run around the field. Very cool thing for kids to do. halftime concert performance from Fred Penner himself. I'm looking forward to this.
That's awesome.
Even though Fred is from Winnipeg, but we'll make sure he's in a Lions jersey that night, I think.
I love the fact that, you're allowing the little guys, the friends, the family, and the kids to go out on the field after the game. And we see that a lot around the league, right?
Yep.
Most teams do it, and it's nice to see that the Lions are getting involved in that initiative as well.
And lastly, just want to say your game ticket that week gets you free gate fare to the PNE. So great time of year.
All right.
Family event.
All right,
BCLions.com/FamFest.
People await for this, all the way from Port Coquitlam to Paris. Nick Kowalski's world famous.
Yeah, they're stopping the Olympics right now to tune into
They're
this.
on pause,
I think, right?
dialing in right now. Okay, well, we're going to all things coaching this week. I want a bit of a different avenue because Winnipeg and BC, two of the premier head coaches, Mike O'Shea, Rick Campbell, but across the staffs, you got some really good former players too, right? And so we're going to make it multiple choice again. We're going to keep score. And I'm going to give you guys 4 options per question. So question number 1, it's right along that topic about the players or the coaches who were players. How many BC Lions coaches have played in a CFL game? Is it 3, 4, 5, or 6?
Tucker, Phillips, Bates.
Travis Brown.
Travis, I don't think he's played in a game, has he?
Believe he
I
did.
don't know, has he?
I will go
4.
I'll go 3.
You guys are both incorrect. It's 5. Ryan Phillips, John Bowman, Jason Tucker,
man,
Travis Brown, and
Sorry, Coach.
The Hall of Famer. God.
He's only in the Hall of Fame. We totally forgot about him. What are they putting in these Cokes?
All right, moving on. Here's a good one I found. So which of these coaches scored the most recent touchdown against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Is it A, Ryan Phillips, B, John Bowman, C, Jason Tucker, or D, Travis Brown? Most recent touchdown.
I'm going to go with Phillips.
I'll go Bowman.
Sorry, guys. This is kind of a trick question. It is Travis Brown. He had a pick 6 for the Ottawa Redblacks in 2014.
This might be your best work yet.
That's not the Travis Brown I know. There's no way he could have a pick 6.
There's video proof of it. I can pull it up later. I actually watched it. It was a game on October 3rd, 2014. It's a tip ball, and Travis Brown is a massive block that sets him free for
So
a
we're
touchdown.
both 0 for 2 here. Wow.
How about this? I'm going to go...
Okay, never mind.
Well, here's might be an easier one. I'm going to go career path. So which coach, BC Lions coach, has this career path? Calgary, BC, Edmonton, Ottawa, BC. So the options I'll give you. So that's Calgary, BC, Edmonton, Ottawa, BC.
That's Rick Campbell.
That's not Rick Campbell.
But no, that's almost Rick Campbell, but Rick Campbell wasn't in BC before.
Exactly. So
say that again. Calgary, BC.
Edmonton, Ottawa, BC. So I'll give you 4 options. It's Rick Campbell, it's Mike Benavides, it's Travis Brown, or it's Jason Tucker.
It's Benavides.
What do you think, Baker?
Benavides.
You guys are both correct.
Yeah.
Point each. How about this one? Here's the same career path. Edmonton, Ottawa, Edmonton, BC. So it's either Rick Campbell, Kelly Bates, Jordan Maximic, or Travis Brown. And to repeat that, it's Edmonton, Ottawa, Edmonton, BC.
Maximic.
What are you going, Baker?
Jordan.
Yeah, you guys are both correct. There you go. Now we're on the board. 2-2. So how about this question? If this coach were to suit up on Thursday and make 1 tackle, it would be his 500th career tackle. So he's
John
1 shy.
Bowman.
Yeah, that's incorrect. I'll give you the options, though. I got some Winnipeggers involved here. It's either Richie Hall.
Hold on. Now you're changing the goal. You're moving the goalposts.
He said Lions and Bombers off the start.
Everything has been Lions thus far.
Yeah, so we're changing it up here. So if one more tackle that he hit 500, it's either Richie Hall, John Bowman, Ryan Phillips, or Jordan Younger.
Jordan Younger.
I will go with...
So that's Hall, Bowman, Phillips, or Younger.
Richie Hall.
Oh, you guys are both incorrect. It's RP with 499
499 for
tackles.
RP.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about this one? Which coach has been a West All-Star the most?
Hey, by the way, I hope you don't let Phillips know that because he'll probably go back to some game film and want to be credited with one more.
Well, which coach has been a West All-Star the most? That's got to be RP.
I didn't even say the question, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the
you
question.
Said it.
It's okay. Here are the options: RP, Richie Hall, Jason Tucker, or Mike Miller.
RP. I'm going RP.
West All-Star the most.
RP.
It is RP with 5 West All-Star nominations. How about this one? We'll get some Winnipeg coaches involved too. Which coach, so you guys are tied 3-3 now. Which coach has played the most games? Ryan Phillips, John Bowman, Mike O'Shea, or Mike Miller?
Mike O'Shea.
Mike O'Shea.
It is Mike O'Shea. We're tied here. How about, okay, here's a tough one maybe. Who is the only Lions or Blue Bombers coach to have won a Grey Cup MVP award? Is it Jason Tucker, Mike O'Shea, John Bowman, or Buck Pierce?
Grey Cup MVP.
Yeah.
Give those options again.
Jason Tucker, Mike O'Shea, John Bowman, or Buck Pierce.
Tucker.
Yeah, I was going to say, no,
Turning point here.
Mike O'Shea.
I'm going Tucker.
It's Jason Tucker. 2003. So there's point
He
Moj.
won the MVP? Oh.
In 2003.
All right.
Here's one coach. So Baker can tie or Moj can win. Which coach has the highest winning percentage, period, as a head coach? So 4 different coaches have been a head coach. So highest winning percentage. Your options are Rick Campbell, Richie Hall, Mike O'Shea, or Mike Benavides.
Mike
O'Shea.
Benavides.
We're going to a tiebreaker here. It's Mike Benavides.
Mike
4-4.
Benavides, yeah, 33-21, I think he was, and O'Shea had a couple losing seasons there to start.
Yeah,
People
you're
forget.
right.
So Benavides is 6'11". O'Shea
Oh,
is
hold on.
5'93".
You didn't qualify that question. Was it heading into the season or was it?
Right now. It didn't matter. It did not matter, though. It did not matter. O'Shea was 6'08".
O'Shea's still at.
I looked this up, yeah.
All right.
See, he's thorough.
We'll go tiebreaker. Baker will have to answer first because Moj had 4 points first. Hit me with Benavides' percentage exactly. So I'll go Baker first, and you can go over under. Don't worry about that. His winning percentage.
Well, you just said it, didn't you?
Do you remember it?
6'11".
I did say it.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Yeah.
How about this one? I forgot about the tiebreaker. Here.
See, maybe he's not so thorough.
Hey, by the way, we only got like 3 minutes left.
All right,
so
let's
you're gonna
go.
have to figure
Hurry
this
up
out.
offense.
I got an easy one. How many games has Mike O'Shea played? Go.
How many games has Mike O'Shea played?
Yeah, I didn't say this number. I have it.
139.
Games played.
I will go 16 times 10, 160. I will go 196.
It is 271, so Moj, you are the winner of the tiebreaker.
Good job.
All right, I'll give you one. Name a coach who coached the Lions and the Bombers.
Cal Murphy.
Baker.
Is that the only one?
That's probably the last one, I think, yeah.
Did Dave Skrine, or am I making?
No.
There's got to be more, but
No,
that's the first one I thought of. Yeah.
I'll give that to Bake. So me first, gold medal and Olympic spirit. Bakes with the silver. Kowalski got the podium. You got the bronze.
For name dropping my tiebreaker beforehand, yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
6'11" winning percentage.
Yeah,
Don't forget
there you
it.
go.
33-21, yep.
Nick Kowalski's world famous trivia. All right, a couple things before we get out of here. Bake again. People want tickets to the upcoming game against the Bombers on the 18th. It's right around the corner. So, again, how do they go about it?
BCLions.com/FanFest. And just rumor has it, maybe the Upper Bowl, maybe at some point. So I'm hearing it's selling quite well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and and it's always fun when the Bombers come to town, and hopefully it's a chance for the Lions to sweep.
All right, the Bombers and the Lions tomorrow night from Winnipeg, or pardon me, not tomorrow night, Thursday night from Winnipeg. We're out of here tomorrow, going to that beautiful metropolis that's located in the heartbeat of Canada. Winnipeg and the Lions, Thursday night, 4 o'clock kickoff on CKNW. And, of course, the pregame show will
5:30 kickoff.
Is it 5:30?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 5:30 Pacific. Yeah,
5:30 Pacific, 4:30 is the pregame
Just
show.
don't want you to get there 90 minutes early. That's all. Yeah.
At least I'm not going to pull a Caravetta.
No.
Thinking that it's a 1 o'clock game and he's showing up at 7. So, again, pregame show 4:30, kickoff at 5:30 on Thursday night, Lions Bombers on 980 CKNW. Big thank you to Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski, and, of course, our guest tonight, Lions receiver Stanley Berryhill III. And, again, a big thank you to everybody here at the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill. And if you're in the neighborhood, check it out. Really cool place. 9304 Salish Court, just off of Bell. And a big thank you again to Dane, Rob, and the crew here at the Lougheed Village Bar and Grill, in particular, our lovely waitress, Laura, for taking care of us tonight. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Do what you got to do. Have yourself a great weekend. Just do us a favor. Be safe.